And we're focusing on Google right now. In the news once again, moments ago, this report was just issued by S&P downgrading Google to sell from buy. Analyst Scott Kessler sees greater risk now for the company and the stock, and it is down 3 1/3% right now at $538 and change. Scott Kessler joins us now with an inside look at this. And I was just reading the headline here, Scott. You say, after further consideration of Google's plans announced yesterday to purchase Motorola Mobility, we see greater risk to the company and stock. Why? Where's the risk come from?
Well, Bill, thanks a lot for having me. Essentially, there are three elements to this consideration. The first is Google's paying a premium price for Motorola Mobility. The second thing is they're buying this company under the auspice of protecting its Android franchise from patent threats, but we don't think there's any guarantee that such a transaction will be able to help in that regard. And then last but not least, we see the combination of these companies taking a longer time than expected and degrading significantly Google's growth and its margins.
So you think they bit off more than they chew, and they're going to take their eye off the ball of what really matters, namely their battle with Microsoft in search, for example. Is that the idea?
Well, I think the idea, Bill, is that these are two fundamentally different businesses. If you look at Google, it's a tremendously profitable company. You're talking about approaching 40% operating margins. Motorola Mobility, you're talking about operating margins in a couple of percentage area. So a big difference there. Look at the growth. You're talking about a couple percentage points of growth for Motorola Mobility over the long term. Google's growing at over 20%. Those numbers that Google has right now are going to have to come down. And all this is under the auspice of protecting Android from a variety of direct and indirect threats to its franchise. We just don't think that's necessarily going to be the case.
Yeah, you say you feel operating margins will dip this year, reflecting aggressive spending on growth initiatives. I mean, this goes beyond just the acquisition of MMI. You feel that because of this competitive environment they're in, they're going to have to do some spending of that, what they have left now, $30 billion in cash by my back of the envelope calculation. And to do that, it's going to narrow their margins. Is that the idea?
Right, Bill. Obviously, Google is in a variety of different areas, and there are strong competitors in almost all of them. They, for example, have gotten a lot of great, let's say, publicity and momentum associated with Google+. The reality, however, is we'll see how that plays out. There are a lot of competitors. How are they going to monetize that? Have they lost a little bit of the momentum in that particular offering? It remains to be seen, but they're spending aggressively to try to stay ahead of the competition.
All right. Scott Kessler, now a sell rating on Google. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Bill.
You bet.